In Chicago, two comedian skeptics named Andy and Art were mysteriously abducted by the illusionary mastermind and conspiracy theorist known only as Mr. Bunker. The following serves as a record of Bunker's attempt to convince non-believers of the truth about conspiracies and paranormal activity. Andy and Art give an uninterrupted presentation and verdict on the plausibility of these offbeat topics, delivering what they call the whole enchilada. Will Mr. Bunker convince these two skeptics any of this is real? Will it convince you?
Everybody, and welcome to Mr. Bunker's Conspiracy Time podcast, the podcast about two skeptics forced to delve into the world of conspiracy theories, paranormal activity, and all things bizarre. As always, I'm your co-host, Arthur Stone, and with me, as always, is your co-host, Andy Hart.
Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Mr. Bunker's Conspiracy Time podcast.
Wow. Woo, Andy, that's got to be a world record.
Where's Guinness when you need him?
Nobody can talk as fast as us.
Nobody can. And that's a fact. If you think you can talk faster than us, you can jump off a bridge because you're wrong.
You know what? Go jump off a bridge and go free falling.
Go free falling.
Like Tom Petty.
Free falling into heaven.
That was a command. That song.
Yeah. That song was a command hook. Produced by 3M.
Oh, boy. We're starting off real hot tonight, listeners, because we've got a fantastic little story, if I don't say so myself. A hot little, cute little, fun little, scampy story. Don't you think, Andy?
Sassy story coming right into your headspace.
Listeners, today's episode is sponsored by a listener like you.
Whoa.
Nick from Joliet sent this one in. This is a request from him, and Bunker said, finally, it's about time. And he was very excited to hear that listeners want to hear us discuss some of his research, right?
Yeah. Nick, thanks for the suggestion.
Thank you, Nick. We appreciate you. Thanks for listening. And, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, the story that Nick and Mr. Bunker want us to discuss today is called the Flatwoods Monster.
Mm-hmm.
But it also goes by a lot of different names, which we'll get into.
Right.
This is a fun UFO slash... it's a UFO story.
Right. Yeah, basically.
At first glance at the research, I thought this was a cryptid story, but I don't think it is. It's a UFO story.
Yeah, it seems more like an UFO than a...
UFO.
Than a cryptid.
Yeah.
I say UFO because I don't have all the time in the world to say 3 letters.
That's right. We can't take up too much of your time. But we're going to take up too much of your time because before we jump into this delicious, naughty, sweet little story, we got to tell you how we got abducted and sent to the bunker today. I mean, you guys love it.
Everybody, probably the #1 bit going in the podcast world today is learning about our abduction.
Every week, listeners, Mr. Bunker captures us in some new, weird, shoehorned, gimmicky way. And he brings us down here to his secret doomsday bunker, and we're stuck here, and we have to podcast about what he tells us to podcast about. And this week is no different, right, Andy?
That's exactly right, Art. And if I may...
Oh, please, Andy.
Let me share
You're taking the lead like in a waltz.
How I got abducted, yes.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. What a treat.
Art, it's safe to say that both on the calendar and in the weather, it's summertime in Chicago.
Oh, baby. It is summertime.
Summertime. Hot time. Summer in the city.
I've been sweating like a stuck pig.
And I am a pig, as all the listeners know.
He will not let that go.
So, you know, Chicago is probably not very well known for this necessarily, but I think it should be more well known for it, is the beautiful lakefront beaches here in the city.
It's not known for that?
Maybe it is. I don't know.
I guess not the beach portion.
Listeners, tweet at us. Tell us what you think Chicago's about. We'll see. Maybe they'll say beaches.
Okay.
But it's a nice respite from the summer heat. It's a fun place to go and hang out.
Okay.
And I like going
and
to
get
the
a
beach.
hypodermic needle stuck in your foot. Sure.
Free drugs, everybody.
Free
The
drugs.
summer of love.
Guys, we need to free drugs.
Free drugs. They've been behind bars too long. Now, I went to the beach the other day.
Okay.
Well, today, I guess, is...
Do you have one of those old-timey swimsuits that like Popeye would wear that's like one piece and striped?
Yeah.
Okay.
I also have weird-looking forearms.
Yeah, you have growths
Yeah.
in your forearms. You injected synthol into your forearms.
Yeah. I only eat spinach.
And you smoke out of a corncob pipe, right?
Yeah, I do. Art, I am what I am. All right. So I'm at the beach this morning, right? Soaking up some of the sun.
Soaking up the rays, getting that tan.
The water's not actually that cold now. It's warmed up pretty quick.
Really?
Yeah, shockingly. Up to 70 degrees already.
Wow.
So it's pretty...
That's bath water, baby.
Mm-hmm, that's
Not really.
That's why I go and bathe in the lake. So I'm down
Everyone
at the
else
beach.
is in there swimming and having a good time. Andy's over there like washing laundry against one of those old-timey
Yeah,
boards.
a washboard.
Washboard.
Yeah.
And
by washboard, I mean just my abs.
okay. I'm sorry. Continue. You were at the beach.
I'm at the beach having a good time. Just had a dip in the lake. Come back to the shore. Gonna soak up some sun. You know, it feels pretty good on that beach when it's weather like this. You know, it's comfortable.
You want to
cool
soak up
lake
some
breeze.
sun. You want to tell everyone that you've
to lighten up.
lighten.
Is that right?
I want to soak up the sun.
Cheryl Crow, we know you're listening. Tweet us the lyrics to this song.
Come on, Cheryl.
So I'm laying there on my beach towel, enjoying the rays, and you know what? It feels so nice. Got a little sleepy.
Okay.
Close my eyes, very relaxed. All of a sudden, there's a looming shadow over me.
Is this a shark?
A land shark.
Oh, no.
No, it wasn't a shark. Not a shark.
That's the first thing I think when I think beach.
Well,
Big old shark.
I don't know if there's any sharks in the waters in Lake Michigan,
Mm.
but I hear like an air brake.
Like a truck.
Yeah. Turn my head, I open my eyes, and there it is. One of those trucks that they drive on the beach that has the little arms on the side to pick up the trash cans so they can dump the garbage in the top.
Okay. I don't think I've ever seen one of those.
They exist.
So a garbage truck.
It is a garbage truck.
Okay, a mini garbage truck.
But it's one of those with the arms
okay.
where they grab the cans on the side.
Sure.
And, you know, I guess I was close to the garbage can, so I didn't think anything of it. I closed my eyes again.
You sleep near garbage. That's pretty normal
because
for
I'm
you.
a pig.
Yeah.
And yeah,
You walked into that one.
I'm laying. Fair enough. I'm laying there relaxing,
Okay.
and then all of a sudden, the arm from the truck lifts me into the air, and it pauses before it drops me into the garbage holder.
No.
And I see the driver is none other than Bunker.
Oh my God. He got you. He said, there's that piece of trash that I
Yeah.
want.
Yeah. He plucked me.
I'm not looking for any doggy poop bags or recycled
There was plenty in
food.
there. He was obviously committed to the bit, and
you
he was
just
picking
stay-
up garbage.
Can you stay away from smelly stuff,
He
please?
finished his route after he picked me up.
Well, it's good to know he's a good civil servant.
He
am I
might,
right?
yeah, I guess he works for the city.
He finished his route. Like, well, I signed up for this.
The beach was spotless.
I mean, say what you will about
I
the guy, but
assume.
he finishes a job. He commits.
Yep, he'll finish.
Gross. Well, Andy, I wish you would stop hanging out around smelly things and getting captured in a smelly way because you stink up the bunker. Real fucking bad. You know, you can take a shower, but it's not going to get, I mean, you know, he captured you in a porta potty a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
He got you in this garbage one now.
yeah.
Sure, there'll be another stinky, stanky one.
I mean, I guess it is who I am. I am what I am.
You
I'm
are
a smelly piece of trash.
with big forearms
Huge forearms.
and a lust for olive oil.
Yeah. I can't get enough olive oil.
Nectar of the gods.
I'm drinking it. I drink it at home.
Speaking of the gods, Andy, I have been playing a lot of a video game lately to the point where I wouldn't say it's detrimental, but I get pretty damn into games sometimes. If I really like a game,
Oh, I know.
I won't stop playing it.
Which game is this?
This game is called Divinity Original Sin 2, which you can already tell. It's a very fun role-playing game, and it's kind of almost like strategy RPG, where you create your own character and you take a band of fellows that you recruit and you go on adventures and you fight evil creatures and evil people. It's like a Dungeons and Dragons type of game, right? Fantasy, epic fantasy.
But it's all about religious
It's like
things.
Yeah, there's a high religious, it's like fantasy religion where the gods actively communicate with mortal beings. And
what kind of religion?
There's like the seven. There's like seven. There's the god of the lizards, the god of the dwarves, the god of the humans, the god of wizards, I think there's a god of orcs. Who else am I missing? I'm missing somebody. There's another god. Oh, god of imps. Can't forget imps. And a bunch of different guys. Anyway, I'm playing this game a lot. I mean, I sunk already probably 30 or 40 hours into the thing, and I got it. I mean, just
2
over
2 days ago.
2 days ago. Anyway, and I've just been playing it so much, but I just started something weird happened where I was playing it this morning, and it started glitching on my screen real crazy, and I was like, "Uh-oh, what the?" I immediately thought, "Oh no, my character, my save file, everything is corrupted. I'm gonna lose all the progress I made." And all of a sudden the screen glitches out and there's a little like animated bunker icon. And he's doing that nuh-uh thing. Do you remember that from Jurassic Park?
Oh yeah.
What that Newman does?
Yeah.
Like I've been locked out.
You know what I was gonna say? You know what I thought of when you said that? It was GoldenEye.
What happens in GoldenEye?
I don't remember exactly now.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for bringing it up.
But that Russian hacker guy.
Oh man,
he sets up something with it's like that. I think
I barely remembered the story of GoldenEye. I only played the multiplayer. I was all about the multiplayer.
Just like now,
baby. More players, the better. Anyway, this bunker icon comes out, and I was so mad, Andy. I ripped off my headphones and I ran outside and I screamed to the heavens. I screamed to the gods above, "Bunker!" And he just trapped me with a net. Big butterfly net.
Yeah, that's his go-to.
He was waiting outside.
Yeah. He knows how to push your buttons.
It pisses me off. I mean, I don't know if I lost my save file.
He's working you like a marionette.
Yeah. He's working me hard.
Yeah, he knows the way to get at you.
I mean, I lost all my progress. What if I have to start over, Andy?
He knows how to get you to basically just come to the bunker.
Yeah, that he does. I mean, you could show a little sympathy. I'm just saying. I could have lost all that progress.
Sorry about your character.
Thank you, Andy.
I hope that it's not lost.
Well, I appreciate that. And anyway, listeners, I hope you don't get lost in the fog and the mist of today's topic. Mist. Mist is a fun word to say, and there's lots of it in. Well, I mean, it comes up in today's topic. I wouldn't say there's lots of it, but
we're gonna say the word mist no fewer than 181 times.
Count us, listeners.
Nick from Joliet, get your clicker ready.
Get your clicker ready, and don't change that channel. We're discussing the Flatwoods Monster today. Takes place in misty West Virginia. And it's a fun one, Andy. You ever heard about this one before?
I never heard of it.
I never did either. And I think there's a lot of fun stuff with it.
Yeah, it's a neat thing.
I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised.
Listeners, we hope you like it.
We hope you like it. And I guess without further ado, here is the Flatwoods Monster.
In the hills of Braxton County, West Virginia, there hangs a mist. And on a day like any other, an event took place which changed the tiny town of Flatwoods forever. It was late, around 7:15 p.m. on September 12th, 1952. Two brothers, Ed and Fred May, were playing football with their friend Tommy in the playground at their schoolyard. When suddenly, the boys saw a bright light streak across the sky and crash up the hill on a property of a local farmer. The three boys ran home and grabbed their mother, Kathleen May, telling her they saw a UFO crash land on the farmer's property. She and the three boys, along with two other local boys, their dog, and the May's cousin, visiting from another town, National Guardsman Eugene Lemon, all trekked up the hill onto the farmland to investigate what they saw. Their canine companion ran out ahead, out of sight. The group heard the dog barking, and moments later, it returned with its tail between its legs and ran home. When the party crested the hill, they understood why. They say animals have a sense for the supernatural.
They saw a large pulsing red orb of fire, and a misty cloud of some putrid stench enveloped the ground, causing their eyes and nostrils to burn. As the Lemon Boy raised his flashlight towards the red orb, they saw it. A creature, something otherworldly, a tall humanoid figure, maybe 7, maybe 10 feet tall, with a blood-red face, two glowing portholes for eyes, emitting a haunting greenish glow. Its head encased in a hooded cowl shaped like the ace of spades. All of this attached to a long, cylindrical, metallic black and green body. The figure hissed at the group and appeared to glide towards them. Just then, the Lemon Boy dropped his flashlight, and they all ran down the hill like dead men. The group made it back home in one piece. Kathleen May immediately contacted the local sheriff and a news reporter. The reporter conducted interviews with the whole group and then, feeding his curiosity, traveled with the farmer back to the site of the crash. They found no monster, but recalled there was a sickening, burnt, metallic old odor still prevailing. The sheriff and his deputy arrived soon after, but found no trace of the alleged encounter. Early the next morning, the reporter returned to the scene and found 2 tracks in the mud, as well as traces of a thick, black, tar-like liquid. Listeners, so concludes the story of the Flatwoods Monster.
Art,
Yeah.
don't you mean the green-eyed monster?
No, Andy, I mean the Braxton County Monster.
I don't know, Art. Perhaps you mean the Phantom of Flatwoods?
Oh, brother. This creature has a lot of names, Andy, and it makes sense. This story got passed around like a joint at a college party. Or, so I've read. I don't know. I've never been invited to one. But, shortly after that local reporter that Kathleen May contacted, whose name was A. Lee Stewart, by the way, he published the whole story in the Braxton Democrat, which was the local one of the local newspapers. This story was picked up and it was spread nationally to various newspapers, kind of like a joint at a collage party, which I'm very familiar with.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, all of this UFO business in Braxton attracted more than just monsters and saucers, though.
That's right, Art. Famed UFO writer Gary Baker conducted lengthy interviews with the entire May group for his article on the incident in Fate magazine in 1953. And this is where the stories start to get a little weird, like a joint at a collagen party.
Okay.
Neil Nunley, one of the younger local boys in the group, was the only one who recalled the giant pulsating ball of fire. The rest of the group say they just saw two, quote, animal-like, end quote, eyes staring at them in the woods. In fact, in Stewart's article, the lemon boy, Eugene, originally thought they happened upon an opossum or a raccoon until he shined his flashlight toward the creature and saw the humanoid monster.
But what about this monster's hot little bod?
What about it?
Most early accounts from the group are, they're very vague. A lot of the group could barely even give a description of what it had going on below the belt,
Mm-hmm.
Below that, most of them agree. In fact, I think all of them agree that it had a ace of spades like head shape and a round red face. But the below all of that, a lot of them couldn't agree on what they saw.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it was Kathleen May who solely described it as having drape-like folds of a pleated skirt, and she was also the one who described the creature as having long, terrible claws, which is kind of, the main image you kind of get when you Google this monster.
Mm-hmm.
The story drew so much hype that in 1967, famed cryptozoology king kahuna, Ivan T. Sanderson, he went to Flatwoods to write and investigate about the incident himself. And even he concluded that the group violently disagreed on their interpretation of the encounter. Somewhere in all the fanfare written about the encounter, we ended up with some kind of monster that has a glowing metallic shell casing like body with possibly a pleated skirt type bottom, and maybe it has long terrible claws. All this was attached to a red orb head with bright glowing eyes and an ace of spades like cowl. In fact, some renditions of the monster, it got so crazy that people started describing it as a metal chassis encasing a reptilian alien. Reptoid. So, the Flatwoods Monster kind of ended up like the conclusion of a bad game of telephone, or an unfortunately poop joke lacking Mad Lib, which, are my personal favorites.
Of course.
Andy, why don't we look back at, the historical context of the story? How does something like this get so carried away? I mean, this is 1950s America, right?
Yeah, I'd love to dive into this, Art. Now, UFOs and aliens were part of the general zeitgeist of 1950s America. The Cold War and the threat of nuclear destruction was a very real fear, as was a huge boom in fancy new consumer products.
That's right.
Chrome wasn't just for browsers, Art.
Whoa, what?
Thank you. Amidst this environment, there was sort of this manifest fascination with visitors from another world.
Right.
People started thinking more about the future.
Right.
And what it held for us and things beyond our own planet. I mean, it wasn't that long after this that we went to the moon.
That's right.
There's sort of a general interest in alien invasion movies like The Day the Earth Stood Still. People were fascinated with it. Comics and science fiction publications depicted strange aliens living amongst us, and very common things among the youth of the United States. I mean, you ever heard of the most famous, deliciously handsome alien of all? Superman.
I've heard of him.
Not just a delicious ice cream flavor, but a
right,
hunky
those gumball
superhero
eyes.
too. In fact, Braxton County and West Virginia as a whole saw a great number of UFO sightings around this time.
That's right, Andy. Famously, the Mothman is another strange West Virginia creature, but this one was spotted in Point Pleasant, not too far from Flatwoods. This cryptid spawned a craze that I would say rivals that of the Flatwoods Monster.
Yeah. And listeners, don't spoil your appetite because, chances are Bunker's going to have us cover the Mothman in another week where he captures us.
That's true. Listeners, you want to hear it, send it in. UFO sightings were incredibly common in West Virginia and the neighboring states of, Andy, Ohio, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. And commonly, these are all located around a lot of different Air Force bases, right? We're very close to Washington, D.C. as well.
Yeah.
Each of these stories, I mean, there's so many of them, listeners, varying fantastical descriptions of aircraft UFO that they see in the sky, teardrop shaped, cylindrical, cigar shaped, and the classic saucer shaped UFOs were spotted. Listeners, there's just too many to recount here, but rest assured, they'll be covered in future episodes.
Rest assured.
All of these UFO sightings coalesced into what was called Project Blue Book. In 1952, the U.S. Air Force created a task force with two goals in mind. One, to identify if UFOs were a threat to national security, and two, to scientifically analyze UFO-related data.
Listeners, we know you're chomping at the bit and foaming at the mouth to get more info on Project Blue Book, but it deserves its own episodes. We don't mean to leave you steaming.
We don't mean to.
We're
nice.
We're nice boys. But nevertheless, listeners, it's safe to say that UFO sightings were a hot commodity in the 50s, and West Virginia was a hotbed for activity. Could this Flatwoods Monster have been a visitor from another planet? A survivor of a UFO crash-landed on Earth?
Well, not according to the skeptics, right? The main theory is that the May group saw a large barn owl perched in a tree. Joe Nickel, reporting for a piece in the Skeptical Inquirer in 2000, visited Flatwoods to determine just what went down on that misty mountain hop. And Joe got the let out right away. The UFO the group saw streaking across the sky, right? That was just a meteor. According to interviews and research conducted by Nickel, a bulk of townfolk believed it to be a meteor, and astronomers were tracking a meteor's flight path, which happened across West Virginia around the exact same time the May boys spotted it. Well, what about that pulsing red light that Neil Nunley describes, right? They explained that this was probably aircraft navigation or a hazard beacon, which is also what the Air Force concluded.
Okay. Well, what about those tracks and the oily residue? Well, the reporters kind of forgot to report that local boy Max Lockard was driving his Chevy truck up there, hoping to see some spoopy paranormal shit, as you do.
As you do.
But what about that stanky-ass smell that caused burning and nausea? Well, Ivan T. Sanderson concluded in his 1967 investigation that the grass just kind of reeks around that area.
His words.
He said they smelled that smelly smell all over, but not as pungent. Still, it stunk.
That's what they said.
And that finally brings us to our star, the monster itself. The descriptions of the monster all line up with the descriptions of a large barn owl perched on a tree limb. Barn owls have hooded faces and large reflective eyes. In fact, barn owls are noted for their strange hisses, calls, and guttural noises, which lines up with the noises described by the group. Also, when Kathleen May described that creature as having small claw-like hands, that also kind of lines up with barn owls. Barn owls. Barn owls, barn owls, barn owls.
Wow, Andy. I wonder who this creature is. Anyway, Andy, some people might wonder why the Flatwoods Monster came to exist. You know, how does a little story out of West Virginia get blown up across the country? Well, Nickel posits that the group, while walking up the hill, they were expecting to find a UFO. I mean, they were going to investigate a strange UFO that they saw streaking across the sky. He essentially chalks this up to confirmation bias. Furthermore, how familiar with barn owls was this group? Not many people are when you think about it. I mean, remember, this was 1952. Barn owls are nocturnal animals, and there was an Animal Planet, around, so they probably had kind of no idea what a barn owl looked like. I mean, maybe they have a concept of an owl, cartoon versions of owls, but, not this specific type of owl. And even if they did, they only looked at it for a mere 2 seconds before the lemon boy dropped his flashlight. So you're getting a 2-second glimpse of a creepy dark owl. I mean, your eyes play tricks on you. On top of all that, this story kind of got swept up by writers like Gray Baker, who were pro-paranormal. I mean, it got spread all across the country to the point where we're talking about a crazy reptoid alien inside of a metal spacesuit.
Yeah. Art, swept up, it most certainly was. Regardless of what the Flatwoods Monster is, it's safe to say it has had a pretty significant impact for a small-town UFO sighting in 1952. Did the Mays reap heavy financial success off their wild encounter? Well, no, not really. In fact, the Mays were routinely ridiculed about the encounter and prefer, even to this day, to not really talk about it. Eventually, the town of Flatwoods, though, learned to embrace its strange paranormal lore and make financial gain off of it. Hooray! Capitalism!
Hey,
we love you.
Kind of right, Andy. Or should I say, Daddy Big Bucks?
Indubitably.
Oh, no. Listeners, Andy just magically appeared with a monocle and a top hat. He's asking me to buy Park Place. Flatwoods
If you can afford it, peasant.
Flatwoods has its own Flatwoods Monster Museum, where they've collected tons of memorabilia and lore about the encounter. Admission is actually free, Andy, although they do sell merchandise and such.
Gift shops,
and I'm sure that, you know, the Flatwoods Monster has brought in a good amount of, well, maybe not a good amount, but I would say a nice amount of tourism that would not normally occur to a small town like Flatwoods, West Virginia.
Sure.
The town of Flatwoods also has monuments in the form of giant chairs scattered throughout in the shape of the monster, and there's 5 of them, and you can sit on them all. I don't know.
If you want to sit on a monster's lap, head to Flatwoods.
Well, see if there's any signage about sitting on the chairs first before you do it, listeners.
Okay, yeah.
I haven't been there. I don't know the rules. But that's not all. The Flatwoods Monster has also seen some relevance in pop culture.
That's right. The Flatwoods Monster appears as the final boss of the NES video game Amagon. In The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, one mission has you tasked with protecting a ranch from alien invaders. These aliens bear a striking resemblance to the Flatwoods Monster and are believed to be inspired by it. And again, in video games, in Fallout 76, a game set in post-apocalyptic West Virginia, you can find the Flatwoods Monster itself.
Damn. All that influence isn't too bad for a little story out of a small town in Braxton County, huh, Andy?
No, sirree. Country roads take me home.
Oh, boy. What exactly was the Flatwoods Monster? Was it an invader? A creature from another world marooned on our planet? Was it a barn owl?
Barn owl.
Whatever it was, it's a part of the folklore of West Virginia now, reaching out with its claw-like hands to grip our attention, forever gliding and hissing in our hearts and minds.
Barn owl.
Mr. Bunker's Conspiracy Time podcast will be right back after this brief message.
Ooh, it sure is chilly outside, Art.
Andy, where's your jacket?
Art, did you hear me? The wind chill is 30 below.
Andy, I think you have hypothermia.
You know, Art, with the horrific chilly weather outside, the only thing that'll warm me up is listening to Andy and Art Debunked, available only on patreon.com/Mr. Bunkerpod.
Are you seriously shilling our Patreon right now?
Oh, Art. Laughing at the antics of Andy and Art is all the warmth I need. And for just $5 a month, I get access to all the episodes of the show, behind-the-scenes updates, sneak peeks at episodes, and I can chat with Andy and Art on the Bunker Discord.
Andy, we need to get you to a hospital.
We need to get me to patreon.com/Mr. Bunkerpod. It's so chilly. Oh, God. I'm chilled to the bone.
Hey, listeners, welcome back. That was our research and the lovely story of the Flatwoods Monster. Andy, What do you think?
Man, oh man, that you set it up. That monster, sure. When you take those combined descriptions, it sounds pretty creepy.
Yeah, it is. It's a creepy little thing. I mean,
10-foot tall monster in a skirt.
Well, and
claws and
that's so funny that you bring that up because in the original article written by A. Stewart, I believe, even he notes that they changed the height.
Mm-hmm.
Like they couldn't agree on the height. Like they were like, it's 7 feet. No, it's 10. No, 17. No, 10. It's just like, what are you gonna do, Andy?
Yeah,
we gotta take the listeners back. We gotta take them to. We gotta take them back to West Virginia, Andy. We gotta go to almost heaven, West Virginia,
country road,
Blue Ridge Mountains,
take me home,
Shenandoah River. Andy, you're at the chorus.
I belong West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads.
Thank you. We're also a singing duo. We do a cappella. We do
only.
Wait, what?
A cappella only. And we only do weddings.
Anyway, after I shoehorned in that weird gimmick about singing Country Roads, which is a great fucking song that's seeing a big resurgence. I don't know if it ever died out, but I think that like the internet,
unlike John Denver.
What do you have to do? What happened to John Denver?
He died.
How did he die?
Plane crash.
Fuck, man. Get out of planes. Musicians don't go in planes.
It's natural law.
Well, I mean, it's creepy. It's a weird phenomena.
Yeah.
Speaking of weird phenomena.
Let's talk about this Flatwoods Monster, huh?
Yeah. The world's scariest Pez dispenser. Look up an image of it. It looks like a Pez dispenser.
Yeah, I did look up some pictures of it. And that critter from the Majora's Mask,
Doesn't it?
Yeah, that's a good rendering.
They take it a little bit different. I mean, it's much more purple, but
yeah.
It's pretty much, it looks like the Flatwoods Monster. It's crazy. A little story out of Flatwoods, West Virginia makes it all the way to Japan. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah.
What's your favorite depiction of the monster, Andy? Do you like pleated skirt? Do you like the Pez dispenser look? Do you like the arms? Reptilian inside of a metal chassis?
I like.
Do you like a fucking barn owl?
I like the one that has like one of those like metal masks with a giant like circular eyes.
Yeah.
And then it's got like a hood and a long robe, and then it's got these like two thin arms.
Yeah.
With the claws at the end.
Sure.
That's my favorite depiction.
Yeah, kind of like the original one that Gray Baker came up with.
Yeah.
Where it's you can see it's Eugene Lemon and Kathleen May holding up a picture of the monster, and then there's like it's an illustration, and there's like a man gesturing to it. That one. Yeah, I think I like that one too. I am kind of partial to the no arms one though, because I think that's so fucking weird looking. Like just this giant metal Pez dispenser looking thing, and it's just like, ah, stay away.
Don't get near me. I can't do nothing about it.
If any listeners out there watch the Venture Bros, he reminds me, and I wonder if this character was inspired by the Flatwoods Monster of the, his name is like the Galactic Inquisitor. And he's that weird character that shows up that goes, ignore me. I don't know. If you watch the Venture Bros, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of funny. It's because like at first, so many of the May kids described this monster as it was much more organic. It was like a monster. And then somewhere along the line through this telephone game of UFO publications, it turned into this UFO metal chassis, like alien invader type guy.
Right.
I think that's just kind of fun. I'm going to say it. The Flatwoods Monster is fun and cute.
It's a
cute little monster.
The Flatwoods Monster is adorable.
I thought that. I thought immediately when I saw it, I thought, that's cute.
Yeah.
He's a cute little guy.
Yeah.
He's colorful. He's got a little red head and he's got his weird helmet thing.
Yeah.
Creepy little arms. I empathize with this monster. It wants them to go away. It's saying, get away from me. It's hissing at them. I get that.
Yeah, that's
me.
The Flatwoods Monster is like you at any social setting.
Yeah. Just get away from me.
Yeah, just...
I hiss at people. I have long, claw-like hands and arms.
You reek.
That was the grass, okay?
Okay.
I excrete a stinky mist. That's another part I love. They're just like, the grass fucking stinks here. I don't know what to tell you. It's just, there's smelly grass everywhere. Like, that's literally what he said. He said,
God.
The grass just smells like that.
It is pretty funny. The grass reeks.
It's just, it gives off a weird odor. I don't know what to tell you. You know?
That's funny.
And, you know, I mean, listeners, you know, I think you can kind of understand what we're going to conclude about the believability of this story towards the end, but
not to ruin
you know,
it for
let's not ruin it for you. We'll keep discussing it.
Yeah.
I think, you know, confirmation bias, let's be honest.
They thought they were going to find a UFO.
They were looking for a UFO.
And they found it.
And they found it.
Yeah.
They're looking for a UFO. They wanted to see a UFO.
This is one of those situations where they come into it. They already have decided that it was a UFO.
Mm-hmm.
They only go up there so that they can see that it's a UFO. They don't go up there to see what it was. They go up there because they think it's a UFO.
And I'm not blaming people. I mean, people didn't have answers for anything back then.
Well, let me say this. It was a UFO.
Yes.
But
unidentified flying object.
They expected to find an alien spacecraft and an alien being.
The civilian understanding of UFO, not the like...
Not the technical.
The technical.
Right.
And people, you know, they see a thing streaking across the sky,
mm-hmm.
and they're like, yeah, well, it's one of two things. It's a downed aircraft or it's a UFO.
Yeah.
You don't got no fucking video you can take of it and post it on the internet and be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, what happened here?
You know, you can't... You don't have answers for anything, so you just have to be like, "Let's go look at that thing."
Let's grab 6 or 7 friends, a dog, and a flashlight, and let's head up there.
And I want to bring that up. Kathleen May is either the coolest fucking mom in the world or the worst, depending on who you're talking to.
Yeah. No, I mean it's like okay. At least they had a National Guardsman with them, like Cousin Eugene,
the Lemon Boy,
which.
I affectionately called him.
It's fun, yeah. Art in the script also never capitalized lemon when he said Lemon Boy. So it doesn't make it seem like it's an actual title. It's just like the Lemon Boy. A boy made of lemons.
Well, you and I both have last names that are things. So does the Lemon Boy.
Sure.
So I think it leads people a lot of times to just call you by your last name. Because you're an object. Don't you think?
I've been very objectified my whole life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's partly my own fault.
Yeah. You bring it on yourself.
I mean, my modeling career
with
did
the way
not
you dress.
Help. Yeah. I dress provocatively.
With your dark royal purple maroon or polo and your hot little khaki shorts that you're wearing.
Hot shorts.
And your
hot khakis.
Your ankle socks.
Yes. I like so that you can see them poking up above my tennis shoes.
You're a dad, dude. But Kathleen May, a bunch of kids come up to her and they're like, Mom, we saw a UFO. We saw a UFO in the sky.
Mom, there's an alien crash up in the hill. She's like, let's go.
You're like, so you're telling me that we have to hike a quarter of a mile up a mountain in the dark and trespass on someone else's property to go hunt an alien? Let's fucking go, dudes.
Boys, let's not hop in the truck even. Yeah. Let's walk.
Let's fucking do it. There's a part in the story where they, and you know, this is a piece of information that's not necessary, but there's a fence that they have to climb over that's like really difficult to climb over. So they go to a lot of fucking trouble. Like think about this. Like these kids come up to their mom and they're like, we saw something crash in a mountain on someone else's property. And her instant reaction is, let's go fucking go, dudes. Let's do this.
Yeah, I love how long it took for the sheriff to get involved. Like, wouldn't that be the first thing that you'd probably be like, okay, well, we might go over there, but let's call the sheriff
That's
first.
because nothing crashed. It was a meteor that went over the hill, and it crested the hill, and they lost it in their point of view. And nobody but Neil Nunley says that there was a giant pulsing ball of fire, but it's just like that's just part of the story now. Neil's the only one who believes that.
Yeah.
And you know, they can't even agree on who was leading the group. Some people say it was the Lemon Boy, which I'm sorry. He's going to be.
That's who he is now, the Lemon Boy.
I didn't create that either. I read that somewhere in the research that someone referred to him as the Lemon Boy. Like they said, the Lemon Boy dropped his flashlight. And I was just like, I'm calling him the Lemon Boy. Sorry, you're the Lemon Boy now, Eugene. But they can't. Some people say it was Neil leading the group. And then it's like, others are like, no, it was Eugene because he had the flashlight, and there's the dog, and it's just like, no, they can't agree on anything.
Right.
But
the dog was the leader of the group.
The dog's like, let's fucking go. Let's find this thing.
The dog ran up there and went, yeesh. That was rough.
You know, and I mean, it's pretty much obviously like
what'd they do? Throw the dog over the fence?
It's a dog. It probably climbed under the fence or something.
Okay.
Dogs have a way of
dogs can get around it.
Dogs, they know how to get past a fence, right?
Sure. Fair.
They're offensive to some. Little wordplay for you.
You love it, listeners.
You know, I mean, let's be honest. We're chalking this up to confirmation bias, right? I mean, they obviously influenced each other with their descriptions. Confirmation bias. The tendency, it's the tendency to search for information that confirms their preconceptions. So they're looking for evidence to prove their previous thoughts, not to prove what the evidence shows.
Yeah. Nothing even happened.
No.
So like if you say that if it was a UFO, if it was an extraterrestrial spacecraft that crashed, like it did, there was no wreckage. Like number one, it's gone completely. And there's no evidence for it.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing up there.
So then it's just like, oh, this extraterrestrial just bailed out, and the spacecraft just kept going.
Yeah, and there's like two other little stories about people seeing the same type of creature, but they all conveniently are told after this one.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's this one about this couple that are driving along, and the car stalls, and then they see the creature like streaking towards them.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, they conveniently came out with this story after the May group came out with theirs,
Right. That's how it always happens, though, is like a story like this will get publicized, and then there'll be like a lot of other people who feel like they saw the same thing. Just remember, listeners, anytime you're observing anything, you are only taking in a small portion of the available stimuli and recording it. So your perceptions of what are happening aren't fully formed. So your brain fills in a lot of the gaps. And it's very possible that if you have this in your mind and there's a gap somewhere, your brain will just drop in the Flatwoods Monster as being the thing that you're seeing, even though you actually aren't seeing that at all.
That's true, Andy. The listeners are dumb. And
no, they're just humans. Most of them.
Shout out to our non-human listeners. Cats, dogs, other shellfish creatures. Tortoises love this podcast. Andy, that's a good point, though, because you got to remember, like, this group is mostly kids. Kathleen May is an adult, a fucking rad adult who has
badass adult,
cool as fuck snacks in her house because she wants to go alien hunting.
Yeah,
she's fucking dope. And
yeah.
And Eugene Lemon, the Lemon Boy, is he's like 18,
right?
So he's like a young adult, but the most of them are 14 or younger.
Yeah.
So these are little kids. They're reading comic books. They're reading science fiction magazines and publications, and they're having this shit influence them.
They're headed to the movies. They're seeing it in the big screen.
Yeah. So, you know, they get a look at this thing for like half a second, 2 seconds.
Right.
Look at anything for 2 seconds, then close your eyes and try and like jot down descriptions of it and see how much you get.
Yeah.
How much little shit you miss, you know?
Or how many things you say existed that didn't actually exist after the fact.
What?
Think about it. If you saw an image for 2 seconds,
okay,
and then you were asked to write down in great detail everything about that image, how many things would you write down that were completely fictional? Things that didn't exist at all in the picture.
I don't know. This sounds like one of these psychology studies that I used to have to do in college.
I bet you would write down at least one thing that wasn't in the picture at all.
Maybe. I was really good at Highlights magazine, though.
Okay.
The picture find thing?
Oh.
I'm a champ.
I'm a real goofus.
Goofus.
Goofus and doofus.
Goofus, no. It's Goofus and Gladys.
Gallant.
Right? Gallant. Gallant and Goofus. You're right.
Yeah.
Gallant would...
Gallant studies hard and gets an A on his test. Goofus did coke off a stripper's butt. And spent the test time in jail.
Gallant donated fresh water to a starving village. Goofus spread his SARS blanket all over the place.
Gallant organized a fundraiser to which created over $1 million for a good charitable cause. Gallant come up with a good Ponzi scheme and grifted $100 million off of people.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's Goofus and Gallant.
Yep, you know it.
You love it. You remember those from Highlights.
I remember those Highlights magazines.
It is funny though how like slightly different their depictions are. Like, you know, they're like somewhere like it's colorless, and then Neil was like, "Nah, it's green," and there was a glowing ball of red fire, and I was like, "Shut up, Neil! There wasn't a fucking
shut up, Neil! Neil, you liar!
There wasn't a glowing green, pulsating ball of fire."
Neil, your butthole's a glowing, pulsating orb of fire. Shut up, Neil.
Jesus, they're so violent. And then Kathleen comes in like, "Oh, it had a long hoop skirt and dreadful claws. Oh, how they were dreadful. Oh, the body was green like a fresh mint. Its face redder than a tomato. How dreadful. Oh, never. Oh, I would never, ever look at it again. Oh, God."
You may remember Kathleen May when she, in her most famous role after the Flatwoods Monster, as Edith Bunker. Oh, Archie! It was a horrible monster.
I would love to see that episode of, what was that show called?
All in the Family.
All in the Family discovers the Flatwoods Monster.
They all go camping. Yeah. Oh, Archie! Oh, it was dreadful. The dreadful claws and a huge hip skirt. Come on, Edith.
It was an owl. It was a barn owl. Lemon boy.
Meat boy.
I don't think I've ever seen an episode of that show. But I want to see that one.
Yeah. CBS, if you're listening right now.
That was your sitcom. I didn't grow up with that sitcom. I watched Different Strokes. I watched The Cosby Show. Why would
I grow up with that?
That was your time, wasn't it?
No.
All in the Family?
No.
When did All in the Family come out?
Well before my time.
Was it?
Yeah.
When did it come out?
In the 70s.
Okay, and you were alive in the 80s watching it, right?
No. Well, I mean, I've seen it before, sure.
Okay. I guess you were influenced by 80s sitcoms like Dallas. You love Dallas.
Not really a sitcom.
Was that Dallas in the 80s or was that 70s as well?
That's the 80s. I've never seen an episode of Dallas, though.
Why do you have that big 10-gallon hat?
That's unrelated to the show, Dallas.
Okay. You're always spouting off about oil money.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Texas
am.
tea.
Yeah. Black gold.
But,
Texas tea.
I don't know, Andy. What do you think about this story? Do you think that stories like this are dangerous? Should these people be ridiculed and made to feel like fools? On the one hand, I mean, I get it. We're skeptics. We're picking apart the story. People like Joe Nickel, they're fine. They're skeptics as well. Picking apart the story, being like, it was a barn owl. But on the other hand, it's like, this is a fun little piece of folklore that the town has kind of embraced. And it's like a little part of their town now that they wouldn't have otherwise. What do you think? Are these stupid? Are these dumb? Are they dangerous? You know, it seems pretty fucking harmless.
It's not dangerous. I don't think that the Mays or the Lemon Boy should be ridiculed for having this thing happen to them.
Unacceptable.
Yeah. In some sense, they are swept up in this tidal wave of press coverage.
That's true. They didn't ask for that.
They bring it on themselves a little bit.
A little bit, but they didn't ask for it to be spread fucking nationally.
Yeah, they go to the press and
they go to the press and they described it as some kind of monster. It's when these pro paranormal guys come along, these dudes who are writing about this shit and they love this shit. They come along and they go, so you saw...
I know what you saw.
And it had a metal body, right? And they were like, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it got bigger than what they could control.
Yeah.
And, you know, they rushed to judgment. They for sure did that. But at the end of the day, what they did was, I'm going to say, intrinsically human.
Yeah.
They acted like human beings act. They didn't act with a exceptional degree of malfeasance in this. They acted like human beings would act. They acted the way that basically any other person would have.
Yeah, I mean,
not everybody.
They went to the sheriff. They went to the local reporter. They said we saw something.
Jumped.
We saw something in the woods. We don't know what it was. We saw a monster. They didn't say alien. They didn't say UFO. I mean, they said like monster. They saw some weird creature.
Yeah, they had an experience that scared them, and they told people about it.
Yeah.
I don't think that they should be ridiculed.
No, I think the Flatwoods Monster's cute.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's a cute little monster.
There's nothing bad about the Flatwoods Monster.
Barn owls, on the other hand, have you ever seen one? You ever seen a barn owl?
I struggled to know for sure if I've seen one in person.
Okay, well, you've seen images.
I've seen, for sure, I've seen pictures, but I feel confident, but not like 100% that I've seen an actual barn owl before.
An image of a barn owl?
No, like a real life barn owl.
Oh, okay. If you've seen an image, that's good enough. What I'm saying is that owls in general are very creepy and very alien-looking creatures, especially barn owls. Barn owls are very weird. They look otherworldly. They really do. I don't like owls. I'm going to be honest. I'm anti-owl.
Okay.
I might piss off some people by saying this. I really don't like owls. They creep me out. Some people love owls. Some people think that owls are the cutest things ever. And some can be, but they creep me out. Their big eyes and their big heads, and they can turn them around. I don't like owls. I don't like them. They're creepy to me. Get them away from me. I don't like most birds. I'm going to be honest. I'm sorry to go on a bird rant. I don't like most birds. Small, cute little birds like parakeets and little like parrots and stuff, those are fine. Domesticated birds that can talk and say funny things, and like you can teach them how to swear. Very intelligent creatures, very loving. Like the kitties of the sky. They're like cats of the sky. They need a lot of attention. So think about that before getting a pet bird. Don't get a pet crow. Crows are look at, I don't like that. That's fucking creepy. Andy, for the listeners, is showing me a picture of a barn owl with its head turned upside down.
It's basically what it's doing, listeners, is it's like craning its neck backward. And so its face is like above its back. But so it's like the eyes are closer to the
And you're
back.
going to tell me that thing doesn't look creepy. They look alien-like. They have these big, black, reflective, creepy eyes, soulless, poolless eyes. Yeah, and like these circular little heads, and they're all like one kind of coherent shape and color in a way. They look like grays, like gray aliens.
Great predators, though.
They're great predators. I don't deny that they're smart, amazing, majestic hunters, hawks, falcons, seabirds like albatrosses, great hunters. I'm just saying that birds kind of creep me out. That's all I'm saying. I just want to make peace with it. I don't like pigeons. I'm trying to come to terms with pigeons. Pigeons are all over the place. They're very smart creatures, but sometimes they get a little too cocky and they walk around like they're humans.
Hot take alert.
Yeah.
Birds are actually the most evolutionarily successful species on this planet.
Okay. You want to expand on that?
Birds live even places human beings don't regularly live.
That's true.
Like Antarctica.
Penguins.
Birds,
on one hand, why do you need to live there?
I mean, birds have existed for longer than us.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll exist longer than humans.
Descendants of the dinosaurs. Okay. Well, you're obviously very pro-bird. And you just said that because I went on a long anti-bird rant.
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, okay. I see what you're trying to do, Andy. You get me all riled up. You know that birds rile me up. I was attacked by a pigeon. I've been attacked by a chicken. I've been attacked by birds my whole life. Birds don't like me. I don't like them. They have never shown me affection. I was attacked by a chicken. When I was still in diapers, Andy.
It's like a mirror.
I was visiting my cousins.
Right, I know.
I have family in Arkansas.
I've heard this story.
The listeners haven't. And I was in diapers and a chicken attacked me. I was walking around in diapers. Chicken attacked me. Now I eat them frequently.
As often as possible.
As a way to say fuck
just
you.
To show who's boss.
When I was a young man working one of my first jobs while still in early college, late high school, early college, I was working a job downtown. And I was coming out of the subway where I took the subway to work, or the train, whatever the fuck you want to call it, the L, subway. It was the red line. The red line is the subway. Anyway. But it also has the ability to be elevated. So anyway.
All trains have that ability. It just depends on where the tracks go.
Okay, whatever, dude. You don't have to fucking clarify, okay? Mr. Probird. I was coming out, large swath of pigeons just hanging out, minding their own business, acting like they fucking own the place when this is human being property. I'm walking past and I'm trying to I was trying to go into the subway. And they all flew at me, a large herd of pigeons. I don't know what you call a group of pigeons.
Is it a flock?
Might be a flock. They all flew at me. One of them hit me in the face and its wing went into my mouth. That's an attack. That's an assault. The pigeons declared war on me. And from that day forward, I have an irrational fear of pigeons. And owls freak me out. I don't like them. They're very creepy to me, okay?
Okay.
So that's been my experience with birds.
I can't claim to share your hatred of birds. Though I do like to eat them.
I recognize that birds they're cool. They have hollow bones. They can fly. They are great predators. Birds of prey, very majestic, very cool. I just don't want them anywhere near me.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's all I'll say.
I've done some reconsidering. Maybe birds aren't more evolutionarily successful.
Wow. Oh, wow. Listeners, Andy has flip-flopped on an opinion mid-show. Jeez.
Shocking.
How shocking.
We could...
Welcome, Andy. You can come. Come. The Anti-Bird Coalition, ABC.
We could kill all the birds.
Easily.
We could launch...
We have flamethrowers.
We have nuclear weapons. We don't
need to nuke them.
We could nuke this whole planet into oblivion.
In fact, a simple slingshot would do.
We could nuke this planet into oblivion, Art.
That's true. We controlled it. We allow the birds to live.
Our fingers on the button. And birds, if you get out of line, watch out.
I might have been attacked by a goose as well. My grandfather had a gaggle of baby ducks. Those are very cute.
Yeah.
Ducks are mean, though.
Did they attack you?
No. They were cute. They poop everywhere though.
A lot of animals do that.
Waterfowl. I think there's a difference between birds that have webbed feet and birds that don't. Maybe that's where my distinction lies.
Birds with webbed feet you're okay with, but
Yeah.
birds with
I
talons,
really don't like geese though. Geese are mean.
You know, this blows
They're
your whole
territorial.
line of
They
demarcation out.
poop everywhere, so you can't enjoy the park. There's shit everywhere.
I don't think that swans are particularly nice either.
Swans are very mean. Some might say more than geese. I think they're the same kind of bird, aren't they? They're very similar.
Probably.
They're like cousins.
Yeah.
I don't deny that they look pretty. I won't deny that they're majestic, good hunters. I'm just saying I don't like them. And
Okay.
owls are creepy.
All right.
Anyway.
Listeners, if you disagree with Art, get at us.
Yeah.
Tell us about how great owls are. But I do see that if you had 2 seconds to look at it,
You had 2 seconds to look at an owl in the dark.
and when you shine the flashlight on the owl, those eyes are going to look so weird.
Oh, yeah. They have reflective eyes.
Yeah.
It's like any animal.
Yeah.
And this thing is perched up in a tree. Barn owls are known to keep their nest and their young in hollowed out oak trees.
Right.
They love those, and they'll keep their they'll keep their babies up there, and they're very territorial. So yeah, they shined a flashlight at an owl, and yeah, they saw it out, and it hissed at them.
The other day I saw 2 squirrels, and I think that one of the squirrels was trying to mate with the other squirrel.
Nice.
And the one squirrel that was trying to be mated with, or that was being subjected to this mating, ran across the street, and the aggressor squirrel ran into a tree and then was promptly attacked by 2 robins who chased it out of the tree and then followed it into a yard nearby.
And you filmed this and put it up on LiveLeak?
No, I put it up on WorldStar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bumfights.com.
Anyway, I'm a millionaire now.
Andy is a
internet millionaire.
Yeah, and a content uploader. Yeah, birds are territorial.
Yeah.
A bird tries to build a nest every year in a part of my house, and it never works. And I always
the same bird?
Yep. And I knock it down every year. Before it forms, listeners, before you start thinking me some
Art
cruel
waits
jerk,
till it's full of eggs.
No, it barely
to send a message.
This thing is like barely got an A-frame up, okay? He keeps trying to put this dry grass stuff in it. Actually, maybe it, like how there's porch lights, like backyard lights. That are really, he'll do that between like the light and where the gutter or the frame of the house is at.
Yeah.
And it never works. The nest falls of his own doing. It's like, damn, dude, go fucking build a nest somewhere else.
Yeah. Probably does.
He probably does. But every year he keeps trying, and it's just like, listen, buddy, get the picture. I don't like you.
This is
I'm not gonna let you build a fucking nest on my back door.
This is his version of like building a house on a beautiful island that's also an active volcano.
Yeah, I am an island. I am a rock. I'm a rock. I'm an island. Well, I don't know, Andy. Should we kind of get to our verdicts? Unless there's anything else you kind of want to talk about. Any other? I mean, I think maybe we can tell some of our own fun little stories. But
I'd like to talk about a time that I had an experience sort of like this.
Okay. So this is an experience where you saw something spooky.
I thought there was going to be something creepy, and it was most likely nothing at all.
Okay, were you looking at yourself in the mirror?
No, that's horrifying. Every time I look in the mirror, I'm reminded of my own mortality, which is terrifying.
You're worse than the birds. You're a barn owl.
I'm better than that band for sure.
Okay, so you thought you saw something.
You heard that harmony earlier. Eat your heart out, David Crosby.
Yeah. Stills and Nash. And Young.
Neil Young, eat it out for a little while. Eat us out for just a bit.
Eat us out, Neil Young.
But Graham Nash, get over here. You got some eating out to do.
Keep searching for a heart of gold, but I'm getting old. God, what a sad sack. He was sad like you. Great songwriter, though. Great guitar player. Anyway, okay. You saw something.
This was probably 3rd grade, maybe 1st grade.
Okay,
2nd grade.
so you're 8 or 9 years old.
I'm definitely a preteen, and
No,
yeah, I was before teen.
I don't think that's preteen. Preteen is like 11, 12.
All right, I was a child.
Yeah, you're a kid.
I was a child,
9 or 10 as a kid, or 8 or 9 as a kid.
and
Sure.
And a friend of mine from school was having a birthday party,
Okay.
and a component of the birthday party was a sleepover.
Hot.
And the sleepover, because his birthday's in August, the sleepover was to be in a tent in the backyard of his house.
Fun.
In the tent, there were approximately 10 boys.
Okay.
And
we got up to some shenanigans.
we were up all night,
Yeah.
basically.
Drinking Surge.
Yeah.
Trying to get your hands on Daddy's Playboy. Trying to stab each other with stuff. And,
Yeah.
you know what boys get up
You know
to.
how it is. And at one point in the night, I don't know exactly what time. Keep in mind, this would have been before mobile devices proliferated throughout the world.
Mhm.
So I wasn't aware of the time because I was not inside. So I did not have access to a clock.
Nobody had a watch.
Nobody had a watch. We're kids. At some point, somebody says, "Hush, hush, 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 hush. I see coming down the street. It's like a pair of red glowing eyes."
Ooh.
And we all go, "Oh." And everybody's scared. What do we do? What are we gonna do? And the person who sees it is like, "It's coming towards us."
Uh-oh.
And everybody's like, "Oh, should we get out of the tent? Should we defend ourselves?" It's like, "No, we should just be quiet. Maybe it'll just go by." And so everybody gets real still, quiet. And we just lay there for a while.
Okay.
Complete silence. Just waiting for something to come to the tent, to rip through the side of the tent and attack us. And nothing happens. And eventually the lookout peeps through that little window in the tent. And he goes, "It's gone." So slowly, we muster up the courage. We unzip the door of the tent. We poke our heads outside. And then eventually we all go outside. And there's nothing. And we're like, "Did you even see anything?" "I saw it for sure." It was terrifying. There was nothing. It was probably nothing. He probably saw nothing. You know what he probably saw? He probably saw like brake lights in the distance.
Yeah. Wow. How anticlimactic.
Truly. But
Good
that's
setup, though.
Isn't this kind of the same thing?
This is 100% the same thing.
I mean, at least there was a barn owl in the Flatwoods Monster story.
Barn owl.
Oh, barn owl. Oh, I sat on that bike seat weird.
Hi, I'm Barn Owl, attorney at law. You see someone trespass on your property? A bunch of wily kids and a kooky older lady trespassing your property? Call Barn Owl.
If you're looking for good drink specials, you could go for $2 drafts down at Bar and Owl. But that's my story. That's one time.
Today's word of the day is barn owl. Yeah, I'll barn owl. I'll barn owl do what I want.
Yeah, I understand. You let people take the animals just for a little while. I'd like to barn owl. Like the barn owl.
What a stretch for both of those.
I'll bring him back in 2 weeks.
Oh boy. Well, that's a very scary situation, Andy.
I mean, it was one of these things where, you've got like the little zippy windows in the tent,
Yeah.
It's like one of these nylon tent deals. And so I think it was one of those with multiple rooms. And like I was, you know how it's like there's like a divider that you could zip in the tent? Not multiple rooms, but it was like a divider in the middle of the tent.
Wow, this is a big tent.
It's a big tent, but I mean, there were 10 boys.
Yeah.
10 supple young boys in this tent. And I was in the back of the tent, and I was like, oh man, I hope they put that divider up.
Yeah, what were you doing?
I was
Fucking
scared
tootin'.
shitless.
Really?
Oh my God.
Were you a little big-ass baby?
Yeah.
Damn, dude. I was too.
Well, it's that thing of like, oh, this tent's not going to protect us at all. And
You're practical about it.
we're like kids, and so we're easily taken advantage of. So like no matter what it is.
You were 100% the kid who was aware that you're kids when you're a kid.
Yeah, I was like, oh, we need to be inside that house, but it's too late now.
If we make a mad dash, I'm going down.
Yeah, I'm in the back. There's no chance. I can't get out.
It would be like Dietlov Pass.
Yeah, I was like, I hope they zip that divider, and then the thing doesn't think that there's more of a tent.
It doesn't know how dividers
It's gonna
work.
murder half of my friends, but at least I'll survive.
Oh my God, that's you. I see it. When I used to go to Jesus camp as a youth.
Jesus camp.
Yeah. From the hit musical Jesus Christ Superstar. There was this fun thing that we used to do. There used to be this thing. It was like, I forget what they called the birds, like stitches or sturches or snitches or snipes. I think it was snipes.
Wesley Snipes?
We go looking for Wesley Snipes. Blade? You out here, Blade?
Blade!
But there used to thing that's called like snipe hunting. And they'd be like, oh yeah. They would try and scare us and be like, yeah, we're going to go hunting for them. And you can see them with their beady little eyes out in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
They make these little noises. And it got me. I was pretty fucking scared.
Yeah.
But I don't think we ever saw one. I've encountered a bear. But I saw that it was a bear and it was daylight. So I guess that's not the same at all. I just wanted to bring it up that I encountered a bear once.
Neato.
It was a mama bear too and a little bear baby cub. And my whole family was together. We were hiking in Alaska. This fucking bear starts walking by. So I think we all started, listeners, I'm raising my arms up above my head.
And the bear was like, what the fuck is wrong with them?
Yeah. He's like, look at these fucking weirdos.
Jesus Christ.
It's like, and then she was like,
son, let's get out of here.
Yeah, she put up her big bear paw, covered her baby's eyes. Like, don't look at them. They're fucking freaks.
Fucking weirdo. Pockmarked, acne-faced little shit. Fuck.
Wearing his little fucking Nirvana shirt. Doesn't enjoy this nice vacation that his family's bringing him on. But it's also kind of their family's fault for bringing him to Alaska when he's 13 years old.
Yeah, fuck your family for that.
I was like the prime age to hate any vacation I was on with my family.
Yeah.
I was just wearing my big oversized Nirvana shirt. Oh, I hate everything. Actually, I don't really remember my voice ever cracking. I think I honestly woke up one day and my voice was just different.
Well, how nice for you.
You have a lot of voice cracking?
I don't know if I had a lot, but I had it for sure.
I don't really recall any super embarrassing times where I was like, ah, you know.
Oh.
But
Oh.
No, if I saw a barn owl in the middle of the night for 2 seconds, I'd be fucking scared. I'd be like, oh, fuck. But I'm not a product of the 1950s.
You bring up a good point, though, Art, that I think that most people are not really familiar with nocturnal wildlife.
No.
And
possums are fucking some of the most disgusting vermin on the planet. The ugliest little creepy faces. They hiss. They're disgusting, beady red eyes. But I think that nowadays we're kind of all a product of zoo books. At least I know I am. And the Discovery Channel and Steve Irwin, R.I.P. I know what a lot of animals look like.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I wouldn't be afraid of a barn owl. I would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would for sure.
I would 100% be like, we need to get out of this area.
You would be like you'd be calling the military for a firebomb strike on because there's an owl in the area.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, but I think, I know what a possum looks like. I know what creatures look like. I'm not saying that I have like some kind of supervision. I also have a flashlight with me at all times called a phone and a video camera. Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, just be warned, everybody. If you see Art, he will shine a light in your eyes and videotape it.
That's a fucking threat. I'm one of those sovereign citizens, and I'm going to videotape you.
He'll blind you with a flashlight and record the whole thing.
And I'll blind you with my skin.
He blinded you with science.
Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a douche.
Another runner in the night.
Blinded by the barn owl's eyes. Wrapped up like the lemon boy. No, wait. Wrapped up like a reptilian. Another lemon boy in the... too many syllables.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Whatever.
Oh,
no, I agree, though. Most people probably... But I think most people are less imaginative nowadays, don't you think? Because we're exposed to so many different things. This was like 1950s, They're like, it's the alien invaders that I was just reading about.
I don't know. I think that I don't know that I necessarily would say that. I think that some of our imaginations have become more codified at this time.
Okay, define codified, Mr. Smarty Pants.
I'm just saying that I think that like if we take this similar scenario and put it today, where there's a couple of boys outside playing football and a meteor crests a hill and they lose sight of it and they run and tell their mom and that a UFO crash landed and they need to go inspect it. Like, I think that they might arrive at the same conclusion. They might think that it's a UFO.
Maybe.
But like, I think that their description would be more standardized. Like, I think that if they all thought the same thing, that they would come up with the same standard. Like, even if that group then all thought that it was an extraterrestrial, that wasn't super well defined yet. Now we have like a lot of standard definition extraterrestrial. Like, it's well publicized what people think like a gray alien looks like.
Yeah.
So I think that if anything, this was in the earlier days of this kind of media related to like extraterrestrials. I think now the better parts of our imagination are more graphically set, and people have more of a common conception of things.
I don't know how much I agree.
I don't know that I would say that they don't have as much imagination. I would just say that probably their imagination is like more shaped by a similar background, and they might arrive closer to the same conclusion than they did.
And also, everyone has phones, so there would be video evidence, picture evidence, and then people could easily be like, it was a barn owl.
Yeah.
There wasn't a story.
P.T. Barn Owl. Greatest show on earth.
Well, listeners, I don't know. I think we've reached the time here.
What? Our time is up.
Our time is up.
On this earth.
On this earth. Time for us to ascend back into our spacecraft, get into our pleated skirt metallic chassis.
Back into our pleated metallic chassis.
Our Pez dispensers, and we have to go home.
Claw arm our way back across the stars.
Our home planet needs us. Let's give our verdicts. Would you like to start, Andy? Would you like me to
go? You go ahead.
Okay.
Because I'll tell you why. You go first. I want to see on which dimensions you offer judgment. So go ahead.
I'm going to offer judgment on the dimension that we live in, the third dimension. And, I mean, case closed. It was a barn owl. Like, I'm sorry. It's a fun story.
Wow.
It's cute. It's a
case closed barn owl?
Yeah. Like,
wow.
It was a barn owl. Are you not impressed with me or what?
No, you frickin' go hard.
Listen, I mean, you saw my rant about birds. Sometimes I just get stuck on something and I can't get off of it. I'm sorry. It was a barn owl. Like, you saw a barn owl. It's a barn owl. It would line everything, every single thing points to barn owl.
Yeah.
Every single thing.
Yeah,
These kids were 100% influenced by the media and the pop culture around them, and UFO writers took this fucking wild. There's no evidence. There's nothing. I mean, literally, it was a barn owl. They told the story. It's cute. I'm not saying it doesn't deserve to be part of West Virginia folklore. I'm not insulting the town of Flatwoods. I think it's fun. Fucking bring into it. Have fun with it. Don't go, have fun with it. It's a fun story. It's a cute monster. It's a fun-looking monster. It's an interesting-looking monster. It was a barn owl, but it was a barn owl. Case closed.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, it's literally a story. That's what we have to work off of.
Art, in these situations, I think you and the listeners by this point, you know me. I'm typically the type of person who's going to say that this is almost completely not plausible, right?
Yeah,
but I won't
know you.
say that it's entirely not plausible.
Because
I'll say,
much like a lawyer,
in case
stay in the gray.
In case there's some, but
you've got 2 in the stink, 1 in the gray.
Let me
2 in the pink, 1 in the gray.
Yep. And let me say this though. Your impassioned verdict issuance has convinced me. And I'm going to say also, case closed.
Wow.
The Flatwoods Monster was a barn owl.
Wow. I don't know for certain. This might be your first case closed.
Second case closed.
Okay, what was the first?
Breatharianism.
Right. You said case closed.
So I'm on a case closed hot streak.
Woo, baby.
For a few weeks here. But I think that I mean, like I said, I would typically leave the door open just in case there's some other weird thing
you
that
would
comes
let
to light.
the Flatwood Monster in.
But I would say from the evidence, like, it was probably a barn owl. There's no agreement on what else there was other than things that could be a barn owl.
I mean, literally the depiction is the head shape.
And there's nothing else that says that there was anything at all suspicious that happened. So it's, you said it. It's literally just a story. But I totally 100% agree with you. I think that it is a good and fun thing that the town of Flatwoods embraces this weird thing.
Sure.
And they have a good time with it. And I think that listeners, go to Flatwoods, West Virginia. Yeah. I kind of want to go to Flatwoods now and just stop. I mean,
I'd stop by,
pass through and see the chairs.
Yeah, if I was
because the chairs look pretty cool. I mean, look up the pictures of the chairs. It's in the research.
If I was going to the Appalachia Trail or hanging out in the Appalachian Mountains, doing some camping, I would stop by Flatwoods for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a neat thing. I think it's, we asked earlier if it was dangerous. It's not dangerous. It's fun. It's a fun story. It's a cool little monster. Like, this got way different than what they thought of. I don't think that the May family or the Lemon Boy should feel bad at all because they did something that was absolutely human. And I think that if anything, we should thank them for actually creating this thing, or getting this into the place where it could be created, because it's fun. And like May family, I hope that local ridicule has ceased. And
I hope so too.
You can enjoy your place in West Virginia.
They only
folklore
talk to certain things. There is a documentary, listeners, you can watch on Amazon Prime called, it's in the research. I don't remember the exact name. If you just search Flatwoods Monster, it'll be the first thing that comes up. That same team also did a piece on the Mothman and a few other things. And the May brothers talk about it on camera in that one, as do a lot of other people. And that's where you kind of see how it's just like a fun, how the town has kind of embraced it, and it's like a fun little thing. But listeners, let us know what you think.
Ed and Fred, guess what? You were kids.
Yeah.
I had an experience in a tent, and it didn't spawn anything. You two had this.
You had an experience in a tent,
and nothing happened.
Period. I had an experience in a tent.
And that's where that story ends. Ed and Fred saw this thing, and they look at this. I mean, I think that
they don't deserve to be ridiculed. They're little kids.
They were kids. They were kids. And you know what? This thing is pretty fun. And like, I think that we should say thank you to Ed and Fred May.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen May, for being the mom who's willing to take her kids extraterrestrial hunting.
For being a cool mom.
To trespass on someone's property, to hunt extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
Of which there's absolutely zero evidence that they ever landed there to begin with. God bless you all.
Yeah. Wow. What a impassioned speech. Andy, the politician. Listeners.
Let's embrace the May family.
Let's embrace the May family. Let's give them all a big hug. But listeners, let us know what you think. I mean, what do you think about the Flatwoods Monster?
Do you think it's real?
Use the hashtag Flatwoods is real if you think it's real, and use the hashtag Flatwoods is big busty if you think it's not.
Yeah.
You know? Because if you think it's flat, if you think it has a big bust. If you think it's a big bust, has a big bust. Does the Flatwoods Monster have a big bust? Tweet at us at Mr. Bunker Pod.
In your version of the story, maybe it does. In Art's, it definitely does in Art's Flatwoods Monster hentai.
My fanfic?
Yeah.
Okay, that DeviantArt account is private. I don't know how you got access to it. My Flatwoods Monster has humongous breasts. Large
metallic skirt.
Easily size D, double D, possibly even F and G, which is medically very hard to deal with. Maybe even an H. Humongous breasts. Upright in a delicious pleated skirt, and long, slender arms. This Flatwoods Monster loves that I sit in my mom's basement all day and play video games. It doesn't care. It's very horny and wants to take care of me. It's also very motherly to me. That's my fanfic. My Flatwoods Monster fanfic.
Check that out. Google that.
I have a sexual desire for the Flatwoods Monster. Hi, I'm famed Flatwoods Monster Hunter Barn Owl. Flatwoods Monster, I've been in love with you since the day I heard about your harrowing tale where you crash landed on this planet looking for a husband. I'd like to offer myself. I live in my mom's basement and I play video games. I don't shower. I refuse. I hate birds.
But I love taller than 7 foot extraterrestrials.
I have a lot of fantasies about that, being dominated by a large alien creature.
Large alien.
Okay. Well, that was Barn Owl. Famed UFO hunter Barn Owl.
Oh, I'm sure we'll be hearing from Barn Owl again.
I hope so. Andy, any last thoughts about this? I think we probably should have ended on your fun little speech, but any last thoughts? That was a really nice point you made, Andy. That was very sweet, very loving.
No, I'll reiterate it. Like, I think that while I don't think that the Flatwoods Monster is real, I think that the Flatwoods Monster deserves a little more affection from the greater consciousness. I'd never heard of it.
It's a fun story.
I've heard of Bigfoot. I never heard of the Flatwoods Monster.
I know. And the Flatwoods Monster,
honestly, a little more cool than Bigfoot.
A little more cool. way cooler design. Bigfoot's
Yeah.
just a big fucking hairy ape. And
Big
there's
ape.
there's like 18 documentaries about goddamn Bigfoot. Every motherfucker on the planet wants to go find that stupid piece of shit.
Yeah.
Nobody's looking for Flatwoods Monster,
Yeah.
who's way more adorable,
Yeah.
even though it was just a barn owl.
So let's again, thank you to the May family for this little chunk of Americana. It's tremendous.
Shout out to Gray Baker and Ivan T. Sanderson.
Yeah. Shout out to Nick from Joliet for bringing this to our attention.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. Listeners, if you have anything you want to see us cover on the show, send us. You know how to contact us. Send us a tweet.
You got our deets.
You got our deets.
Tweet us. Email us.
Tweet those deets. Tweet a deet.
I want to tweet those deets.
Talk about your dad. Hey, well, I think that wraps it up, right?
That's it.
Well, listeners, thanks.
That's the tortilla wrapping around the filling on this enchilada.
There you go. Hey, for the titular Mr. Bunker and for my every win co-host, Andy Hart, I'm Arthur Stone saying that was the whole enchilada.
Woohoo. Woo.